In a cloud forest 2,000 meters above the plains of southern India, an animal that scientists do not consider a separate species, that exists for biological reasons that took 100 years to understand, is sleeping on the lateral branch of a strangler fig. Her coat is the color of wet coal. In dappled light, her rosettes are still faintly visible, faint as the watermark on old paper. She is a leopard. She is also something more. She is what most people call a black panther. To the biologists who have lived alongside her kind, she is more precisely a melanistic Indian leopard. Panthera pardus fusca, with a single mutation in a single gene that has darkened the base color of every hair on her body. In every other respect, she is a leopard. Same skull, same teeth, same musculature, same hunting behavior, same secretive, solitary, intensely territorial life. But because her coat is dark, she lives differently. She moves differently, she is seen differently, and she sees the world differently in return. This is one monsoon, one dry season, one cat. To understand her, you must first understand the shola. The shola is a montane evergreen forest that grows only in the high hills of southern India. The Nilgiri, the Anamali, the Pawnai, the Cardamom Hills. Tropical in latitude, but cooled by altitude into something that resembles, in feel, a tropical cloud forest. Stunted, gnarled trees, hung with moss, streams that run black and clear over moss-covered stones. Patches of forest the size of a small village, separated by golden montane grasslands. The shola does not form a continuous canopy. It forms islands of forest in a sea of grass. The leopard does not strictly belong to one habitat or the other. She uses both. By day, she sleeps in the shola. By night, she hunts the edges, where the grassland meets the forest, where the sambar deer drift in to graze, where the gaur cross between feeding grounds. Her home range is a mosaic. A forest patch here, a grassland strip there, a stream corridor connecting them. She knows every meter of it. The Nilgiri Hills are also one of the great biodiversity sanctuaries of Asia. Inside a single protected area here, one might find Asian elephants, Indian gaur, sambar and chital deer, sloth bears, deholes, wild boar, 4 primate species, 300 bird species. And in this dense larder, the leopard sits as the second largest predator. Only the tiger ranks above her. In some valleys where the tiger does not range, she is the apex. To explain why she is black, you have to step into a small piece of genetics. Most leopards inherit a working copy of a gene called ASIP, which produces a banded pattern of dark and light pigment in each hair. When that gene is broken by a small mutation, the hair receives only the dark pigment, eumelanin, throughout its length. The result is an animal whose entire coat is overlaid with a deep black. The rosettes are still there in the underlying pattern of pigment. In strong direct light, you can see them. In shadow or under dim canopy, the animal looks uniformly black. In the leopard, this mutation is recessive. A cat needs 2 copies of the broken gene to be black. If a black leopard mates with a black leopard, all the cubs will be black. If a black mates with a spotted, some cubs may be black, others spotted, often in the same litter. In a wild leopard population, the proportion of black individuals depends on how common the mutation is in the local gene pool. Across all of leopard range, melanistic animals are rare. Out of every 100 leopards globally, perhaps 11 are black. But in the southern Indian wet evergreen forests, the shola, the rainforest fringes of the western Ghats, the lowland forest of Karnataka, of Kerala, the proportion rises sharply. In some local populations, more than half of all leopards are melanistic. Almost nowhere else on Earth is the black coat so common. The likely explanation is camouflage. In a wet evergreen forest where light is filtered through layers of dense canopy, and most of the interior is in deep shadow, a uniformly dark coat may be a more effective ambush color than a spotted one. A leopard in this country hunts by being unseen until the last second. The blacker she is, the less an alert sambar at the forest edge can detect her against a shadow. In open dry forest, the mutation offers no such advantage and is rare. In the cloud forest, it pays, and so the cloud forest carries it. Like all leopards, she is largely crepuscular and nocturnal. She is most active in the hours after dusk, the deep middle of the night, and the hour before dawn. By day, she sleeps in trees, on rock ledges, in deep ravines. Her camouflage is most effective in low light. Her vision is built for it. A leopard's eyes contain a layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum, which reflects light back through the photoreceptors, effectively doubling her night vision. In starlight, she sees as a person sees in late dusk. She begins her night not with a hunt, but with a patrol. She walks her territory perimeter. She marks. She scrapes her hind paws against fallen leaves at certain locations she has used for years. She sprays a tree at the corner of her range. She rubs the side of her face against a low branch, leaving scent from her cheek glands. Other leopards will know she has been here. No other female will overlap with her territory by more than its margin. An hour into her patrol, she reaches the edge of a grassland where a small group of chital deer have come down from the upper meadows to drink. 6 animals, 3 females, 2 yearlings, 1 cautious adult male. She does not approach from above. She drops into the moss and grass, belly to the ground, and begins a stalk that will take her 40 minutes to close 200 meters. Watch how she moves. She has not lifted a paw above the level of the grass for the last 20 meters. She places each paw deliberately, testing the ground for sound before committing weight. She freezes when a head lifts. She advances when a head drops. In the entire 40-minute approach, she will be wholly invisible to the deer. The strike is 2 bounds. The first carries her 4 meters across the gap. The second is into the flank of the nearest doe. She is on her in less time than the chital herd takes to wheel. A bite to the throat. The carotid is severed. The doe is dead in 20 seconds. But the kill is not the end of the work. In the Nilgiri, the leopard has a problem the cats of Africa rarely face. On a kill, she is at risk of losing her food to tolls, to sloth bears, to leopards from neighboring territories. So she does what leopards across Asia and Africa have done for hundreds of thousands of years. She drags her prey, almost her own weight, into a tree. In a wedge between 2 main branches, 12 meters above the ground, she will spend the next 3 nights eating. She will lose nothing to scavengers below. Nothing in this forest, except perhaps a very bold sloth bear or a tiger, can take a kill from a leopard in a tree. In our female's territory, there is one other cat she must constantly account for. A male leopard whose own territory overlaps hers, as is normal for the species. He is also melanistic. In this part of the Nilgiri, where roughly half of leopards are black, the pairing is not unusual. He is larger, 30% more body weight, longer in the leg, broader in the chest. He patrols a range almost 3 times the size of hers. He overlaps with 2, possibly 3 resident females. Their interactions are mostly remote. He marks his territory. She marks hers. They read each other's signs at scent posts and tree scrapes. They almost never meet directly outside of mating. When she comes into estrus, once every 6 months or so when she is not raising cubs, she calls. A series of repeated rasping coughs that carry for kilometers through the still night air. He answers. He arrives within a day. Their courtship is brief and noisy. A few days of together time, of mutual rubbing and short tense play, of frequent mating. Then he is gone, back to his patrols. He will not see the cubs. He will, if their territories overlap, sometimes protect them indirectly by keeping other males out of his range. But the work of raising them is entirely hers. In late May, the monsoon arrives. The Nilgiri receives some of the heaviest rainfall in southern India, up to 4 meters in 3 months. For 90 days, the forest is wet. The streams swell, the mist rises off the canopy in continuous columns. Visibility drops. The grasslands turn vivid green. Hunting changes. In the 2nd month of the monsoon, in a small rocky cleft hidden behind a wall of dripping moss, the female gives birth to 3 cubs. 2 are black, like her. 1 is spotted, the typical pale rosetted coat, because the father, despite his color, also carries the spotted allele. All 3 have eyes still closed. All 3 weigh less than a kilogram. For the first 3 weeks, the cubs remain blind. They feed only on her milk. She moves them to a different den every few days. A hollow log, a different rock cleft, a thicket of bamboo. Constant movement is her defense against danger. Sloth bears, dholes, even bolder male leopards from other territories would take the cubs if they found them. So she never lets the location be discovered. At 6 weeks, the cubs' eyes are fully open. They begin to leave the den briefly. They climb on each other on small branches. They learn to follow her, lead by sound. By 3 months, they are eating small pieces of meat she has brought from kills. By 6 months, they are following her on short hunts, watching from cover while she stalks, learning the geometry of an ambush before they have the strength to attempt one themselves. One of the three, the smallest, a black cub, will die before his first birthday. Probably to a sloth bear, possibly to a dull hole pack. In leopards, cub survival in dense competitive forest is roughly 50% through the first year. The other two will survive. They will follow her until they are 18 months old. Then she will drive them away, gently at first, then with increasing intolerance, until they leave her territory entirely. They will find their own range or die trying. The Nilgiri leopard lives at a delicate intersection. On one side, the protected wet evergreen forest, the shola, the rainforest fringe, the bamboo breaks, where her camouflage is unmatched. On the other, an intensively farmed plain. Tea plantations on every south-facing slope. Coffee estates in the valleys. Villages tucked into every fold of land. India holds 12,000 leopards. They live closer to people than any other wild big cat on the planet. Conflict is constant, but coexistence in this country is also constant. The melanistic leopard, more than any other large carnivore in India, has thrived in the forest fragments that remain. She is adaptable. She is secretive. She can persist in pockets of forest no larger than a few square kilometers. In some surveys, more black leopards have been camera trapped in the past decade than in all the previous decades combined. She is one of the few large predators on Earth whose detection is growing faster than her habitat is shrinking. In a cloud forest 2,000 meters above the plains of southern India, on the same lateral branch of the same strangler fig where we first saw her, our leopard is sleeping again. One season has passed. Her two surviving cubs are gone, one east, one south, to find their own territories, their own mates, their own children. One of them will pass the dark mutation on. One of them may not. The next generation will be a mixed litter like hers. One forest, one cat, one mutation in one gene. And in the deep shadow of a wet montane evergreen, an animal who has turned a quirk of pigment into one of the most successful ambush strategies on the subcontinent.